Hey students, in our last lecture of business research methods, we had discussed something about sampling. We have discussed how to determine the sample size. In this lecture, we'll discuss something about data analysis. Though we'll move towards data analysis, but first we'll discuss what should be done with the data before data analysis. So these are the steps. First, the data that we collect from the respondents, researchers collect from the respondents, that data is called raw data. Then that data requires editing, that we'll discuss later what is editing. So then data requires editing, some editing is done with the data. Then coding of data, we'll discuss what is data coding. And then that after editing and coding, that data is entered into a software, into a system, in we may say computer, for further analysis of data. So before we start data analysis, there are some steps, some process needs to be done with the data, then only the data is ready for analysis. So first step, we'll discuss data editing. Data editing is the process of checking the completeness, consistency and legibility of data and making the data ready for coding and transfer to storage. So when we do the data editing, when we complete the data editing, only after that we can go ahead with data coding and transfer of data to the storage, means data entry. So it says that there is this process includes the checking of completeness, consistency and legibility of data. So this means if there are anything that is missing in the data that we have collected from the respondents, or if there is anything that is not consistent, that seems to be incorrect in the data, so that needs to be corrected, or sometimes that need to be completed by the researcher, and then the data should be coded and should be entered into the system. I'll take one example. For example, if we collect data from the respondents and that data is uh, given by the respondent, we get a questionnaire filled from the respondent, but a respondent has not answered one or two questions in the response out of maybe 20-30 questions. There are 20-30 questions in the questionnaire, but respondent misses, does not answer one or two questions of the questionnaire. And if it is something that happens 1 in 1,000 cases or 1 in 100 cases, that unanswered questionnaire can be eliminated. But sometimes we see that almost all or many of the questionnaires have some fields or some data that is missing. So we cannot remove all the questionnaires from our record. So we need to decide what would be done for the missing data. So there needs to be formulate certain rules, define certain rules for missing data. So for example, if we collect data from respondents, and just a simple example, uh, we are asking them whether they go for online shopping or not. So there are two answers, yes or no, and after that there are more questions about online shopping, which are the preferred sites and so on. But a respondent has not responded whether the respondent goes for online shopping or not. Means respondent, the question is, you go for online shopping, yes or no. So respondent has not given the answer for this question, but in further questions the respondent has given the answer that the preferred online shopping store is this one, this is the frequency of online shopping and so on. So even if this data is missing, we can understand that because the respondent has given the preference, respondent has given the frequency of online shopping, it means the respondent must be going for online shopping. So the answer for a question, you go for online shopping, should be yes. Even if it is missing, we can complete this data by entering yes in for this question. So this is something that could be done to complete the data. Sometimes a rule is defined, sometimes the researchers define, okay, if any question will be unanswered, then perhaps we may give it a don't know response or a fixed response that is pre-decided by the researcher. So this means when the data is incomplete, so data editing helps researcher here, or it is the process in which the researcher completes the data. I'll take one more example about not completeness but about consistency or legibility of the data. I ask there are two questions in a questionnaire. One question is for how long you have been residing in a particular area, and there is another question about the age of the respondent. So in age, respondent replies 30, and in the column how long you have been residing in this area, the respondent answers 40 or maybe 48, right? So this is contradictory. A person having age 30 years is residing in a particular area for 40 years or 48 years. This is inconsistent. This seems to be wrong. So, how this wrong or incorrect or illegible data can be corrected? We can assume, we can think that okay, the age is in the form of years, 30 years, but for how long the respondent has responded in months rather than years. So it is 40 or 48 months rather than years. Though the question was supposed to be asked in years, but the respondent has given the answer in months. So by data editing, the researcher can change this 40 months into years. So this way the researcher can edit the data. So if there is data which is incomplete or inconsistent or anything that seems to be, that is found to be wrong or incorrect in the data, that can be edited by the researcher, that should be edited by the researcher before entering that data into the system or storage. So what could be done with this? Field editing or in-house editing. There are two types of editing, two ways for editing: field editing and in-house editing. Field editing means the people or the interviewers who go to the field for collecting the data, they themselves edit the data, and that is something easier for the researchers, because even if a respondent has not filled his or her age, or respondent has not simply marked the answer of gender, so the field person interviewer knows that okay, that was a male who has not ticked in gender section, so we can do that field editing. If the respondent has seen the person but the if the interviewer has seen the person but the respondent has not ticked in the age section, so the field interviewer may make a guess, okay, that person was looking around 30 to 35 years of age, so we can tick in 30 to 35 years of age option. So this way field editing is done in the field, maybe during the time of sorting the data or sorting the questionnaires. So this can be done in field. So this could be easier, and this could be more reliable. But if field people interviewers are not allowed, or they are not supposed to be qualified for editing, then in-house editing is done. In-house editing means the data is collected by the field persons, and then that is stored at a place, that is collected at a place, and then people or researcher sitting at a place, they go ahead with the editing of the data. So there are two options: either the researcher can go for field editing, or the researcher can go for in-house editing. Then after editing, the process that requires is the coding of data. The data needs to be coded data needs to be uh, changed into some numerical values. The process of assigning a numerical score or other character symbol to previously edited data. So data has been edited. Now what needs to be done? We understand that data, when we collect data, that data is in a very large quantity, maybe thousands of individuals or maybe more. So when data entry is done, so entry of long answers or entry of 2 3 words for each respondents for each answer seems to be difficult, and it is also difficult or challenging to analyze that data which is written in form of 2 3 words. So what is done during coding, some numerical values are assigned to the answers that were asked or uh, that were responded by the respondents. So there is just a simple example of this. If we ask about the gender of the respondent, so there are three options: female, male, and others. So during coding, we code that if the respondent answers female, we would write, while data entry, we will write in the system 1. If the respondent has respondent male, we would write 2 while entering the data. If the respondent would respond others, we would write 3 while entering data into the system or in our software. Similarly, another example for age, if we have given these 6 options for respondents, so we give these 6 numbers to age, these 6 numerical values to age. So if the respondent has ticked up to 18, while data entry we would enter 1, 19 to 25, we can enter 2, 26 to 35, 3, and so on. So this is the coding, and this coding needs to be written somewhere. It is not something that we remember, or that is just something to be discussed orally. It should be written, it should be mentioned somewhere that this is the rule for coding. So there sometimes, if there are too many variables, then there needs to be a big uh, data for just coding information, so that information may also be said to be code book, right? So this is how we go ahead with coding. So for every answer, we for every question, for all the options, we need to give some numerical values to those options, and while entering data, we need to use those numerical values as codes, and we would enter those codes, those numerical values, rather than writing the whole answer. So just maybe another example, if we ask, as we have taken example in my last example, last slide, that you go for online shopping, yes or no. So we can code this. If the respondent would say yes, we would write 1. If the respondent would say no, we would write 0. So code for this question: yes 1, no 0. So if a respondent has given response as no, we would write 0 while entering data into the system. So this is all for this lecture. We'll discuss more about data analysis in our next lecture. Thank you.